Hello.
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 How's it going?
Pretty good.
Good. I'm kind of sick.
Why?
My immune system is crashing. I don't know.
Why is it doing that? Now you're gonna get the rest of us sick, and then we're gonna have to cancel the podcast forever.
I'm getting everyone who listens to this podcast sick. That's how this works.
Oh my gosh. No.
My cold travels through the air and the Wi-Fi, and everyone is sick now.
You have the truth or dare cold.
Oh yeah.
That was actually, the more I think about it, that was kind of an awesome ending to that movie.
It was a good ending.
That they're
It was
like,
a decent movie.
they're like,
Except
it really, I've never seen like a main character in a horror movie's response to like, it's hopeless and you're gonna die. I've never seen their response be like, well, if I'm going down, I'm taking you all down with me. But like two innocent people.
the worst part of that movie is that it was called Blumhouse's Truth or Dare.
I think the worst part about that movie was like the first hour and 36 minutes.
That's fair.
But the
I
last,
still think the title is worse than the first hour and 30 minutes.
the very ending was pretty good
Yeah, it was decent.
for the reasons we just talked about.
Yeah. That's not the movie that we watched today, though.
No, it's not. It's definitely. Oh, and thank goodness, dude. Can you imagine trying to do a freaking podcast on
It would be over already. We just talked about it.
Blumhouse's Truth or Dare? Good heavens. All right, folks. Let's do this thing. Hello and welcome to episode 46 of We Watch Movies and Then Talk About Them, the only podcast on the internet where we watch a movie and then talk about it. There may be others where other people watch movies and then talk about them, but this is the only one where we do it. My name is Andrew Westonsko. I am the host of this here podcast, joined at my right hand in life and in all things by Becca.
Hi.
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 Hey.
Great.
That's me.
Freaked me out. You just like... you guys didn't see the face she made, but she made a really weird face and leaned right into her microphone and was like, hi.
I'm sorry.
I didn't even see it.
I
so
didn't know I made a weird face.
You made a weird face.
Oops.
Whatever. And at Becca's right hand and to my left is Sid.
Hey.
See, that was normal.
Hey.
Maybe a bit, a bit of a lack of enthusiasm. But
Hey.
nice. That's what I want to hear.
That's how I'm talking the whole time today.
I'm looking forward to it.
I am already sick of myself.
I've been feeling that way for like 15 years. So,
Just
Wow.
lean into it.
Only
Yeah.
15.
yeah.
I'm going on 24 here.
24, just like
Yeah.
can't stand yourself.
Just the second I was born, I was just like, ugh, get this over with. That's why I was born not crying. I was just already accepting my fate, and
Your parents were so stoked. They're like, we have the perfect little girl. She never cries.
I cry all the time now.
You're making up for it. Did
Yep.
you cry in this movie?
No.
Oh.
I cried in lots of movies lately, though. So,
What was the most recent movie you cried in?
let's see.
To look at the list of movies you watched.
Okja.
I've heard that was like only all right.
It was, yeah,
But it still made you cry.
yeah.
Big animal pig thing die.
No.
Yeah.
But there were still some sad parts.
Okay.
It doesn't take much to make Sid cry.
No, it doesn't. I will talk about like probably 4 other movies that have made me cry at the end of the podcast.
Wow.
Stay tuned.
So get ready for that, folks. Well, today we are discussing. I don't want to forget her name. Let's see. Today we are discussing Anna Lily Amirpour. A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. I don't know how to say that last name because she's Iranian, and I don't speak whatever language this was. Does anybody know what language this movie was in?
I have no idea.
Persian. Makes sense why there was a cat. Aren't cats Persian? Isn't that like a breed of cat? Like a Persian?
There are Persian cats, yes. But not all cats are Persian.
Okay. So what you're saying is all Persians are cats, but not all cats are Persians.
No,
No.
that's not what I said either.
Great, whatever. Who cares? This movie came out in 2014. It is from Iran. It's a movie about vampire girl kind of thing.
Yeah, a vampire.
I mean, she's definitely a vampire, but like, is it about her? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah. It's a fun movie. So we're gonna be talking about it today. I was trying to think of anything to say without spoiling it, but really, let's just spoil the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
Came out 5 years ago. You had your chance, folks. But jumping into this, if you haven't seen it, who would you recommend this movie to if people haven't seen it?
Probably people who obviously are open to international movies
Mm-hmm.
and like I wouldn't necessarily call it quirky, but a different kind of horror.
It's definitely like arty. Like
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah. Well, it's like a weird mix between like black and white foreign drama and like spaghetti western.
Yeah, that's what the tagline was the
Oh,
first
was it?
Iranian vampire western.
Oh,
something like
really?
that. Yeah.
I didn't know that going in, so
Yeah.
I was like,
I didn't know it either. But I would say like probably the best way to go into it is to hardly know anything about it.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
If you're into horror movies, it's not even scary though.
Mm-mm.
Literally the only reason it's considered a horror movie is because there's a vampire.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not scary at all. There's like one scene that could be maybe classified as a jump scare.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's arty, has an incredible soundtrack, and is just beautiful to watch. So if that sounds interesting to you, check it out because we're going to spoil the crap out of it right now. Here's how the show is going to go down. Oh, wait. First, I want to talk about this. This is obviously part of our ongoing series of 31 Days of October. It is where every year for the month of October, we dedicate ourselves to watching pretty much only horror movies. In the past, we have done a calendar style with a movie assigned to each day. This year, we moved to kind of a film festival model. So each week of the month has a theme, and we chose 4 movies for each week of the month that fit into that theme. So this week's theme is called Scares Abroad, and it focuses on international horror. So we have, obviously, this movie, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. We have The Host from Korea. We have Let the Right One In from Sweden. And we have...
The Babadook, right?
No, that's in week
Oh.
5.
Oh, okay. I knew that
Let's
was
find out.
one.
We're
of the
gonna.
movies.
This is not planned, but if you want to find out all of the movies that we're watching, you can go to 31daysofoctober.com, where it will have all the previous and upcoming movies. Oh, we're also watching Train to Busan, which is also
That's
from
right.
Korea.
That's a good one.
That's the other one we're watching. Yeah. Yeah. So this is what we're looking forward to. Basically, the idea being here, obviously, one of the greatest fears that we as human beings have is fear of the unknown. And a lot of times things that are from other countries, other cultures are unknown to us. And so they come off as weird or creepy or odd. And so that's kind of the fear that we're drilling into here when we are focusing on movies from other countries that discuss aspects of other cultures and things like that. So that's kind of the idea behind this week's theme. Also, I just wanted to watch some foreign horror. Becca would not let me put the original Ring or the original Grudge on here.
No way.
You know, I hear The Wailing is supposed to be incredible.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I've been wanting to watch that one for a long time.
How scary is it?
I don't know.
It
like,
sounds scary.
I've heard it's really freaky.
Into
I mean,
that
just
vein.
the remakes are
So-
terrifying, so
Down.
I think it's gonna be really scary.
The Wailing. Soon after a stranger arrives in a little village, a mysterious sickness starts spreading. A policeman drawn into the incident is forced to solve the mystery in order to save his daughter. Yeah, all right.
Hmm.
Cool. I'm in.
I mean, that's just a recommend.
Great.
From yours truly.
Once again, you can go to 31daysofoctober.com. That's the number 31daysofoctober.com. It's a website that I made.
Yes.
Um,
And it's cool.
It is cool. I'm proud of it. You can see all of the movies that we are watching this month divided up into the weeks that they belong to, as well as where they are available to be streamed. So that's that. All right. Let's jump right in. Format of the show. Here's how it goes, guys. If you're new here, if you're not new here, this is going to be the same as it always is. We're going to do some hot takes where we give our quick, short, and condensed opinion on the movie at hand. Then we will do our in-depth discussion, breaking down the themes, symbolism, and emotional affect of the movie. Following that, we will do our final thoughts. Following that, we will have trivia. Sid has kindly read every single item of IMDb movie trivia so that you don't have to. She will regale us with the best of the best. After that, final thoughts. Then the movie will be rated on a scale of 1 to 10 using the only definitive way to rank movies on a scale of 1 to 10, which is the Weston scale. Then it will be placed on the scale using an aggregate of our 3 answers so that we can see how it stacks up against other movies that we have covered on We Watch Movies and then talk about them. Following that, we will go into other topics, basically other movies that we've watched, things that we are interested in talking about, and we will say now and say again later that today we bought our tickets to go see The Lighthouse. And I am stoked. Cannot wait for that movie. All right, I'll go.
I was just going to say, you're probably just as excited for The Lighthouse as you were Midsummer. We're just not doing a countdown.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, well, our tickets are for the 24th. Today is the 12th. So, 12 days. 12 days till we go see The Lighthouse. It was harder to count this one down because...
I thought we were going the 25th.
Oh, was it the 25th? Okay, so 13 days.
Oh, okay.
Whatever I said earlier when I bought the tickets.
Okay.
Yeah. Point being, The Lighthouse looks incredible. It is my number 1 most anticipated film of the year at this point, now that Midsummer has come out. So let's do this. Let's go with some hot takes. Don't burn yourself on these hot takes. Becca, how hot is your hot take?
It's pretty hot.
Spicy hot
Yeah.
take.
I really, really enjoyed this movie. I think that black and white foreign films are very much growing on me.
Hey!
Like,
Let's watch Andrei Rublev again tonight.
no. That one's very hard.
We could watch the 4-hour cut.
No.
Sorry, is that the longer cut or the shorter cut?
That's the longer cut. The shorter cut is barely under 3.
Oh, what a huge difference.
That's like an hour.
That movie was
Once-
so hard to stay
Once you
awake
get to
in.
3 hours, everything more than that is nothing. Everything, it just turns into a 12-hour movie.
Anyway, back to A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Yeah, I don't know. I really loved it, and I love watching black and white movies because I feel like, I don't know, they still like captured a lot of, not color, but just light. Like there was a lot of light in the movie, and I just liked that look. Like I liked the look of the black and white, and it being in a different language really didn't bother me at all. Like it wasn't a big deal, and I enjoyed it a lot. Also, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Under the Skin for a lot of reasons. Like it's just this girl walking around killing guys.
Yeah, this was not intentional when deciding these movies. I had not seen either of these movies when we picked them. So
Well, but I thought it was interesting how similar they were, and like it's just about her experience, like trying to decide if what she's doing is right maybe, or who she should kill, or if she should not kill someone. I don't know. Like that was just interesting to watch and compare to Under the Skin. Like there's obviously a lot of differences, but I thought there were specific similarities.
it's an interesting comparison for sure.
Yeah. So overall, I very much enjoyed this movie. It wasn't scary at all, but I loved just all the quirky aspects of it, and I loved her. I guess we don't ever get her name, do we?
Mm-mm. She's just listed as the girl.
That's cool. I thought she was a really interesting character, and I liked her relationship with, what's his name? Arash.
You should get that looked at.
You're so funny.
Oh, man.
Anyway, that's pretty much my hot take. I very much enjoyed it.
Cool. Sid, how hot is your hot take?
Mine's pretty hot.
Double spicy hot takes.
Just ignore that.
Okay.
Sid.
Well, we don't often get double spicy hot takes from both of you guys.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, me and Sid have similar taste in things.
Whatever. It's a double spicy hot take. I was excited.
Okay.
Tell us about it.
Okay. Yeah, I really like this one. I was looking forward to it. I've heard about this one for a few years. It wasn't anything that I expected. It definitely had its like creepier moments. But it honestly just felt more like a romance between the two main characters, and then there's also like a subplot where she's a vampire. So it's like Twilight, but good. Yeah, I really liked it. I thought the black and white was gorgeous. The music really like threw me for a loop, but I loved it. It kind of was like teen drama music, and I was into it. And also just like the look of the girl, which is like this black cape. Like she looked so cool.
And that she wore the same shirt every single night.
Yeah.
Told you it's her killing shirt.
And that she's taken down gross men. Down with the patriarchy.
Yes.
She's dismantling the patriarchy bit by bit. Go the girl, I guess. Well, guys, I'm going to do my best to not get too excited here. But we got a triple spicy hot take.
If you were like at a Mexican restaurant, we would be the tippy top of their ranking of spice.
This is as spicy as it gets,
Wow.
I think.
Insane.
Very insane. I loved this. I didn't know what to expect going into it. Like, literally all I knew was that it was from Iran. It's about a vampire, and it's in black and white. Those are the three things that I knew about this movie when I purchased the Ultra Special Deluxe Edition Blu-ray.
Andrew does a lot of blind purchases.
I do. I blind buy a lot of movies.
That's why we're broke.
That's part of it for sure. What did we do? We like went through the shelf and pulled all the movies that I had bought in the last year, and it was like something like 50 or 60 movies in the last year.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Point being, yeah, my take on this is pretty spicy. I think that there are not a lot of things about this movie to dislike. I think if I was going to fault it in any way, it's that the narrative is a little sparse / simplistic. But I think that the style with which it is told, and I don't mean that like, oh, this is her style. I mean like this movie is stylish. Like it has this really super unique vision, I think, and it just threaded the needle between so many different things, between horror movie and Western and romance. And then it tosses in all this like super cheesy music, but then like at other times there's like Western music, and at other times there's like Middle Eastern music, and just some of the scenes are so gutsy with just like the extent to which they just went for it. And like I talked about this a few weeks ago when I talked about watching Cloud Atlas, and not that this movie really has anything in common with Cloud Atlas other than the fact that like I feel like both of those movies had an idea and had a vision and just went for it. And like whether that 100% comes together or not is kind of not the point to me when I watch something like this, because just seeing a filmmaker go for it like that is really exhilarating to me, and I love seeing that. And I feel like they did that in this one, where they mixed so many different things and managed to pull it off in a way that is entertaining and is satisfying. and I think manages to tell its story while also telling, I guess, this is one of those movies that like I was picking up on things and I'm like, am I like projecting my feelings onto this movie and pulling symbolism where it's not supposed to be pulled out of, or like is this movie really deep? And I'm still on the fence, but the point is that when you make a piece of art, whether it be a film or an album or a book, and you put it out, like it no longer belongs to you. It belongs to the audience to, I guess, derive meaning from. And if this movie got me thinking about things, then I think it was a success, whether it was the intended messages or not. And I will discuss what I think those messages are.
I like that thought.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't have a problem with it, the simplicity of the movie and the storyline. Like, if it was any longer, maybe, but I really liked that there were just a couple characters and not a super in-depth story, and you just got to kind of watch people interact.
Yeah, I don't want to misrepresent my feelings. Like I don't think that it hurt the film.
Mm-hmm.
I said I think that if you were going to try and knock it on something, that would be
Yeah,
like it doesn't
fair.
it doesn't try very hard to engage the audience, if we're being honest. Like it requires a lot from the viewer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that if it were to be knocked on anything, that would be the thing to knock it on. Luckily for the film, I was super into the style of it. I've talked about this before. I'm a very visually driven film goer. If I enjoy the visual style of something, like I can just stare at it forever.
Mm-hmm.
And this film is absolutely gorgeous.
Which is, again, just crazy to me that something can be so pretty that's just black and white.
I guess we'll dive into we're transitioning into discussion mode. Let's talk about that. Why it was so effective, though, the cinematography, even though it was black and white. What do you guys think?
I think it kind of just stripped everything down to just like this kind of bleak world where like there are some scenes where it could be super colorful, like her apartment seemed like it would be really colorful, or like the party scene where it feels like everything is stripped down to the basics of just the storyline, and you can just really focus in on that, and like you can really notice when it's bright outside or when it's dark, and I think she would look so much better in black and white than she would in color.
Oh yeah,
with her cloak. Yeah, it just kind of gave it this like creepy, depressing atmosphere.
Yeah.
Also, like thinking back to it, the movie, I feel like my mind like put color in certain places and
I
on
agree.
certain things. Like, and I kept thinking that throughout the movie, like, oh, I bet this was this color. And then I would like assign it that color and keep like see it later on,
Mm-hmm.
which was interesting. So it just like,
Let me ask you this: what color was this car?
Green.
oh, I thought it was red.
I said blue.
Oh,
It seemed blue to me. That's interesting.
Weird. What color is her shirt? The stripes on her
Red.
shirt. I thought green.
I again thought like a really, really deep blue, like almost black.
That's so funny.
What color was the blood?
Purple.
Really, I was gonna say orange.
Oh,
No, it's blue, because did you know that when your blood is on
I'm gonna
the
unplug your
inside-
microphone. I'm doing it.
Well, blood's on the inside, it's blue.
It's not true.
It's not.
It's not true at all.
It's not true.
Hang on. What else can we? What color was the cat?
It's like an orange.
Yeah, I was thinking
brown.
orange. What color was the little kid's jacket?
Hang on. I thought the cat was like black and white.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought for sure it would be orange. Like it looked
Yeah.
like
Like
This
kind
is
of
so
like a light
interesting.
black with like a little brown.
This is so interesting. I saw like strictly black and white on the cat. And not just because it was black and white, but like assigning colors to it.
What
Yeah.
color was the pimp sex tattoo?
Black.
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 We're all on the same page. Good. So when we all get sex tattooed on our throat, we know what color it is.
Yes. Glad we cleared
Awesome.
that up.
The kid's jacket though, that's a good
Yeah.
one. What did you think?
I saw like green and blue and red because it was like all like flannel striped and whatever.
Mhm.
So I just saw like a nice green, blue, reddish jacket that was all beat up.
I got like a deep green.
I don't know.
That's fine.
A lot of colors.
That's all right.
Do you think Arash was wearing black jeans or just like blue jeans?
Black jeans, absolutely.
Yeah,
thought so
probably
too.
black.
Yeah.
This is the whole podcast.
This is fun. No, it's interesting to see what
Yeah.
we assigned two different things. But let's jump back into the cinematography a little bit, because I think that what it had the potential to lack by not including color, the impact that color would have given it was made up for in two things. I think the way that it utilizes like direct light sources. I think one of the best examples of that is when the prostitute is dancing for Arash's dad, and she's moving in front of and away from just that like light shining directly at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
They do that a few times with just like direct light sources right at the camera to like highlight different things. And the other thing, and I think that the most effective piece of cinematography that this movie had was its use of reflection. There are so many instances where we're given more depth of the image based on a reflection of something. I'm thinking back to when he steals the earrings. You can see the light reflecting off of the earrings and shining up onto his face. I think the most impactful one is obviously the disco ball at her house, when it's, spinning around, but just the way that reflection is utilized, I think it really gives the scene some more depth in a way that color had the potential to, but I think it was a smart decision to, like you guys said, strip it back to its basics and let really that lighting shine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I like what you said too, Sid, that it just like strips it down and you get the story for what it is, and you can imagine it however you want to imagine it, and it gets to be what you want it to be. Like all of those colors are right because it's what we thought.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think like what the black and white does is it makes you pay attention to different things, where like you said, the scene where the sex worker is dancing, like I was noticing like you could see her hairs on her arms, and
Oh my gosh, that scene was so gorgeous.
and then one of my favorite scenes was just when Arash is just like tripping on X at the party, and it's just like it would be like black, but you can just barely see the outline of his head.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great scene.
I do like how they would like fuzz things out, some like make things blurry to highlight different things.
There's that scene, it was just incredible, that long take of the prostitute, and was it his dad
Yeah.
walking down the street?
Yeah.
So like they're on opposite, or no, not the prostitute, it's the vampire and his dad on opposite sides of the street.
Yeah.
Do you know the scene I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's just this long take of them moving together, and the focus kept shifting from her to him back and forth, and that scene was so cool as far as like using the focus of the frame to I guess increase the tension of the scene.
I also I guess this is a bit off topic, but I think that scene shows like how she, like the tactics that she uses to like find her next prey, of like following and copying what they're doing. Like she doesn't just attack someone, she only attacks people who will come closer to her,
Except for
most
the
part.
The homeless guy.
Well, yeah,
He just kind of
that
had it
one,
coming.
yeah.
But I think it's also, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But like it seems like she is like trying to protect certain people. Like she's obviously trying to protect the sex worker because she kills the pimp, she kills his dad. So I kind of almost feel like it was like her motivation was to help this other woman, and then kind of like Arash came in and like he was also kind of became part of it too.
I think that I absolutely agree with you. I think that she was going after people who were abusing positions of power
Mm-hmm.
to make other people either uncomfortable or unsafe.
Yeah. And she was like just trying to make sure that, like, when she was talking to the little boy and she's like, "Are you a good boy?" Like, she's just like making sure that people are like being genuine, like not dicks, you know?
Yeah. I mean, she's still a vampire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
No, and that, I guess jumping right into that, that connects directly to what I think was probably the most obvious and largest theme going throughout the movie, which is kind of the inversion of your typical power structure. And that was really what her mission was, whether she was conscious of it or not. Like that felt to me like her character's drive. She was the embodiment of essentially the patriarchy falling, right?
Yes.
And you can laugh. Yeah, that's a joke of ours outside the podcast. But the point being that that's really what she was. She was this embodiment of empowerment for women who are, beat down by men who, especially over in the Middle East, obviously are given intense control over the lives of women.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that even the title hints at that. Like even taking something that would typically be, a really scary thing for a woman, walking home alone at night in a town literally called Bad City,
Mm-hmm.
and flipping that. Like even just the act of her out walking alone, scaring men, like even that is flipping the typical power structure and allowing her to use that walk home alone at night as kind of a method of empowerment. That was really interesting.
Yeah.
Whoop. I just punched my microphone. And I think that it goes several levels deeper than that, because I think that by including Arash, they're not just talking about women, but they're talking about anybody who is beat down and abused and allows somebody else to have, power over them in their life. Because Arash is also able to be liberated by her actions, basically. And so, like, that's why I think the title is so interesting, because you hear it the first time and you think that it's going to be about a girl walking home alone at night. And even just hearing that title, you assume that she gets attacked and something bad happens.
Yeah.
But it's the reverse. She is out walking alone at night, hunting people. So.
Now, every time that I have to like walk home from campus and it's late, I'm just gonna take a cloak with me
Yeah, why not?
so I can just stalk boys. I can't wait.
I think that sounds like a great way to spend your
Because
time.
I had to throw out
Yeah.
my pepper spray, so now I have to do
You had to
something
throw
else.
out your pepper spray?
Yeah, we were going to Six Flags, and like as we were in line, I had my keys with me, and it was on my key ring. They were like, "No pepper spray."
Oh.
So what, Six Flags thinks it's just perfectly safe? They're like, no, we don't need that here.
I guess so.
But they wouldn't turn down a cloak.
No, no way.
Yeah, you could wear a
That's all
cloak.
you need.
Yeah. Well, and even that, like, even where, again, in the Middle East specifically, like, clothing is used as such an important method of controlling women.
Yeah.
The fact that she's not out doing it in, like, a sports bra or something. Like, she's in this clothing that would, again, typically be a sign of oppression, and she's flipping it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it also kind of plays into like she's wearing this cloak, and it kind of makes her seem like meek and not really someone to be afraid of. So I feel like it kind of helps her gain trust of her victims, where it's like she's just some girl walking like, and then she eats you.
Sometimes she'll bite your finger off first.
Cool.
And then make you eat it.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Real gross.
But yeah, I appreciated that theme and kind of that vibe throughout the movie, that, like, again, it's like, it's interesting as well. I guess I'll talk about the other theme that I picked up on. And this was admittedly more abstract, I guess, and less directly hinted at, but I appreciated it nonetheless. Was the focus on her vampirism versus that of humanity in general. That obviously a vampire needs to kill other people to survive, and it was never clear like if she needed to drink blood or if it was just like simply a method of cleaning up the streets essentially or whatever. But there were a few interesting cuts between her and specifically like the oil wells, like the idea being that like we generally consider vampires to be something that's evil and you know, should be killed, and it's a monster because it feeds on people and all that kind of thing. But like we do the same thing to people and to the planet. And I like the reason, like I said, that hinted at me was like just some interesting cuts between her and the oil wells, like the direct visual comparison between, you know, pumping blood out of the body and pumping oil out of the earth.
I
And-
totally didn't catch that.
Yeah, I
but
didn't catch that
that's,
either.
I like it. That's cool.
And also the fact that like, you know, one of the main characters is a prostitute and her pimp, like the exploitation of people as well as the exploitation of the planet, being that like that kind of exploitation and abuse is completely normalized because it can be extended to any really like employer-employee relationship, as well as like our relationship to the earth, like stripping it of its resources. And
Well, and even Arash and his dad, I feel like Arash thinks that he's like tied down and he has to take care of his dad and give him all these things and loses his car because of it, like because of drugs mostly. Like Arash's life is getting ruined too, even though
Yeah.
he's not the one using.
yeah. So even, I guess you could even talk about like jumping back to our previous theme, like you could even talk about like the power structure of drugs, where like drugs have control over your life
Yeah.
if you partake frequently and have an addiction. Oh, and jumping back to that, really sorry, rewinding really quick. Kind of what tipped me off that was going to be a theme early on. I thought it was really interesting, just the opening scene that you see Arash, and he's, you know, leaned up against this wall, smoking. He looks totally badass, right? Goes, gets this cat, walks home, treats the little kid like trash. Like you think, oh, this guy's hard. Like this guy's cool. And then like 5 minutes in, it's just him getting bullied by this other guy. And you're like, oh shoot, like turns out he's not like a big man or a bad guy or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like that instantly tipped to me. I was like, oh, okay, so he is not in charge.
Yeah.
So that I guess that got me watching who was in charge in each situation
Yeah.
and pointed me in that direction. It's just smart writing, I think, to get your mind focusing on that idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Which, again, for the story being so simplistic, like the writing is really smart, I think, to get your mind onto where the movie is trying to put your mind.
And there's not a lot of dialogue really.
No, there's really not.
So it's all contextual.
Yeah. But yeah,
That's cool.
those are my two big takeaways as far as theme go, were like power structure and exploitation of people and of the planet. That, like, again, we see it as evil if it's a vampire doing it, but where we do it every single day, it's just totally normalized, but like it's still probably not great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I do think, jumping back to her vampirism, I do think she needs to drink blood. I think that's the main reason why she killed the homeless guy, is because she needed blood.
And like we never see her eat anything else. Like there was that one scene where the sex worker offered her some food.
Well, he buys her a hamburger, but she doesn't eat it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So I do think she does need it, because her character, she wouldn't just go kill a homeless guy like that. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Let's talk about the music.
I loved it. Every single it was so good.
Absolutely the best part of the movie.
It
I
was
think.
just like it didn't fit at all, but it also fit super well.
Yeah.
I
Well,
feel like it almost made it like more relatable somehow.
that's
Like,
exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It grounds it in a way that we see, because you compare this to something. Well, no, never mind. It's a bad comparison. Compare it to something like Under the Skin, if you want, right?
Uh-huh.
Where like it's this really foreign story because vampires and aliens and all of this is really foreign to us. But by even if they weren't super popular songs or songs that I think any of us knew, having this really modern touch to the music rooted this in reality. She puts on a record and it's a song that I'm like, I could hear this on the radio.
Yeah, and I'm like, I
Or-
love this song.
Yeah.
Or she talks about listening to Lionel Richie.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I mean, it feels almost entitled, where it's like, oh, I felt more connected to this because they had more like kind of Americanized music. But I think it can connect a lot of people where like these are like popular songs, but like anyone can relate to a lot of these songs, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like also different where it's exposing you to different things, where like the melody of one song could sound like something that you would just find on like Discover Weekly, but the lyrics are in a different language, but it's still like, you're like, oh, I really like this.
Yeah. I think the other purpose that it serves, aside from grounding the world, is it inherently provides depth to the characters who admittedly are not fleshed out by the story itself. Because you think about the music that each character is associated with, right? Like we go to the pimp's house and we commented on this while watching it, but he has like the single most boring, bland electronica going on in the background. And so like you think that just pushes into your head like, oh, he's basic, and he's like jamming along with it, but it's like, this is the worst thing I've ever heard. Like this is just boring. But then you finally get invited, or I mean, even the first time that we see her, she's down in her house listening to music, and you know, she takes down Arash and puts on this poppy love music, and it's like it inherently provides depth to her character. By you think about it, you're like, oh, she's this vampire, but she's listening to cool music. Like, all right, cool. Like it makes you, is it not only grounds the world, but it makes her more relatable and also provides depth to her character that the story itself does not.
Well, and I think it helps drive the story because, I mean, maybe it's a bit on the nose, but like you hear a love song and you can tell, like they're not talking, but they're starting to crush on each other. And even like the very last scene when they're in the car, like up until the very last scene, there's like a lot of tension between them, and you don't know what's going to happen after he sees the cat and like starts to piece things together. And it's not until they're in the car, he gets out and then gets back in and puts on like a rock song, and they like look at each other, and that like without talking, like that drives the story and helps us
And
come
that's
to
such
an ending.
it's done in such a smart way too, because it shows from the front and you see him reach over and you hear a latch come open. And I legit thought that he was opening her car door.
I did too. I thought he was gonna push her
I thought
out.
he was opening like the glove box and like would have a gun or something.
That was my second thought.
Well, yeah, like I ran through a lot of things really quickly. Like I heard the latch unlock, but you don't see what he's opening. So
Yeah.
I thought first he was opening her door to kick her out.
Yeah.
Then it goes over and it shows the glove box, and I think, oh, it's going to be some sort of weapon. And then he pulls out the cassette tape, and I'm like, oh shoot, he's okay with it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like the music kind of just like fills in the gaps where exposition isn't letting you know what's happening. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. No, the music, again, such smart choices, but such unusual choices. Just like another example of where they just went for it.
And it works.
And
like,
it could have fallen completely on its face, but it doesn't.
Yeah. I think that's cool that like we didn't need any dialogue for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But we still understood exactly what was happening.
Yeah. And, you know, the conflict that was going on in his head and
Yeah.
all of that. I thought and even still, I thought she was going to kill him when he came back and was like, we have to go. Pack your stuff.
Yeah, and she like changed into her.
Yeah, she changed into her killing
Yeah.
shirt.
It's like, oh, I have no idea where this is gonna go.
Yeah. I guess that was another thing that was really satisfying about it, is like it was really unpredictable.
Uh-huh.
I know, and even like when they were in the room, when Arash was in her room for the first time and she like grabs his head and leans it back.
Oh, that's such
And
a
she's
great
just-
shot. That's
yeah.
such a great shot.
I
And then
lo-
she just leans into his
Yeah.
chest.
Yeah.
I think that's probably my favorite scene in the whole movie.
That was my favorite too.
like the way that he just
yeah.
she looks at his neck and then decides not to.
But
I
it
wasn't even going to ask what everybody's favorite scene was because I assumed it was.
Okay,
Oh
good.
yeah.
That was just and it's just like the music is going and like he just like slowly comes in and like I was like, is she gonna kill him? Is she gonna kiss him? And like
And how slowly she turns away
Yeah.
from the record player and towards him. Like,
and the disco ball's still going in the
Yep.
background. Oh my gosh.
even that, like, again, I might be reading into it too much, but like that slow turn, like, I think that's her kind of internally, she has made her life about this music basically and lived very much inside of herself.
Mhm.
And I think that turn and the reason that it takes so long is she's almost fighting against herself to open up to something external, which is Arash. Whereas she has for so long just been inside of herself.
Yeah, where she's like kind of starting to trust someone.
Yeah.
Where it's very obvious that she's been alone like her whole life.
Yeah.
And even their interaction on the street beforehand, like when he's like, "I'm Dracula."
Oh yeah.
I loved that. And that was also her deciding to like bring him back and say,
Yeah.
"You can't sit here. I have a place. Come sit there."
Yeah, true.
I don't know. You can just like see her thinking while she's like trying to decide, is this someone I kill or not?
Yeah.
She does give a great performance too, just
Mhm.
across the whole movie.
Absolutely.
like, Almost no like overacting. Like
Yeah.
she's just like standing there. I would say probably like one of the few times where she's like really acting is like when she's talking to the little boy.
It's so well done.
That was a good
Her
scene.
voice there all sing-songy
Yeah,
and
and
like,
they also had like
they did some
deep with it.
modulation
Ugh.
on it. Yeah.
That was really cool. Yeah, she was great. I mean, I really thought that like pretty much everyone was really good in this,
Yeah,
especially
zero
the
complaints.
pimp. I love him. Such an idiot. I can change him.
You think so?
Yeah.
You can bring him back
he's
to the
dead,
light.
So
Yeah, he's missing a finger.
In the next life.
In the next life.
Yeah.
You're going to convert that pimp in the next life.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get to heaven. I'm like, where is he? I need him. And God will be like, he's been waiting for you.
still has sex tattooed on his neck.
One question I have. It was a gorgeous scene. What was the deal with the lady dancing with the balloon?
That was my question at the end of
I
the
don't
movie.
know.
I don't know what it represented.
I thought that maybe it was his mom, but she didn't really look like the pictures of his
Yeah.
mom.
No.
I mean, I looked at the comic that you had that came with the DVD,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like one little scene where someone was harassing like a transgender man, or so I'm kind of wondering if that's supposed to be the same character, because like I can't exactly tell what the gender is of that character, but like the
Yeah.
makeup is very painted on, so I'm wondering
Yeah.
if it's supposed to be the same character, and
Could be.
maybe she is freed because the girl killed this harasser. I don't know,
Maybe.
but it was a really cool scene.
It's a gorgeous scene. I
It
did not
reminded me
understand
of,
it at all.
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know what movie it is. Some really artsy movie. I can't think of it now. Don't listen to me.
Great. That's really easy to narrow down though from that.
Yeah.
It's some really artsy movie.
Is it 400 Blows? Let me see.
Have you seen that?
No,
Oh.
I want to though.
I've heard it's good. Okay. Well, Sid looks that up. Is there anything else that you want to bring up, Becca?
I don't think so. I feel like I've covered everything that I love. I think I was just really surprised by this movie.
Agreed.
Like, it was way better than I was expecting, and not that I was expecting it to be bad, but
I think none of us knew what to expect.
yeah, it just was so, I don't know. It said a lot, and it was gorgeous, and it's really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any luck, Sid?
Maybe. Hold on.
I've covered everything that I want to talk about.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to talk about.
Okay.
I have no idea what movie I'm thinking of. Sorry. Don't
That's all good.
edit all that out. Cut me out of the podcast.
Oh no, Sid.
I
you're done.
quit.
You're fired. Get out of here.
Okay, see ya.
All right. So then trivia. Was there any good trivia?
Yeah, there were quite a few. There were only like 13.
Or I guess what I will say now is that concludes our discussion.
Yes.
We'll now move on to trivia, Sid.
It's my time to shine. Director Anna Lily Amapour. She bears a similar resemblance to the girl, and she actually performed the skateboarding shots because she is a lifelong skateboarder.
I love that.
So while we were talking about it in the movie, I came up with they have to change the name of the movie now. It's now The Girl Who Shreds Home Alone at Night. And it's perfect. Thank you. You can pay me $8 million. This was actually shot in California, despite the setting being Iran. The cat was not originally written in the script, but they were so impressed with its skills that they put it in the film. And
Oh, wait, I have a question. So, do we assume that she, like, sees through the eyes of the cat?
that's kind of what I was
That's
thinking.
the vibe that I
That
got.
like she
Okay.
just like has a connection.
Okay. That's all.
I mean, I kind of assumed it was like she has a connection with all animals, but we only see it with the cat.
Okay.
And also, I really liked the cat. It was really fat, and I loved it.
It's really cute.
Director also had another cameo as Shirin, who was the party girl with the skeleton makeup.
Ah.
Mm.
And this is the first vampire story set in the Middle East.
Hmm.
And that's my trivia for you.
That's cool.
Yeah, good trivia.
Thank you.
All right. So let's get into it. Becca, your final thoughts and rating out of 10.
I feel like I just gave my final thoughts. I loved it. The music is great. The acting is great. The story is great. I liked it way more than I was expecting to like it. And I feel like my rating could go up later, but I'm going to give it an 8.9. It's a very, very good movie.
Sid?
Yeah, I don't have too much else to say. Just this movie took me completely by surprise. I loved everything about it. Yeah, really just like a interesting look at the vampire genre. I'm gonna give this one an 8.8.
Right on. Yeah, again, I don't know that I have anything else to say. I loved this movie. I am actually kind of excited to watch it again.
Same here.
Mm-hmm.
And
I just want to rewatch the scene where they're in her apartment like 18 times.
it's just on YouTube.
Well, that's what I'm doing tonight.
Great. I am rating this one an even 9.0,
Nice.
giving us an aggregate score of 8.9. That puts it on par with Annihilation and Snowpiercer.
Sounds about right.
Because Sid rated Annihilation an 8.5 for some unknown
Okay.
freaking reason.
Let me rewatch it and revise, all right?
Okay.
I was young and immature and stupid, and this was a year ago. I've grown a lot since then.
It's true. We all have. Go listen to our old episodes, and I'm sure they're cringy.
Ooh, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Even just like thinking about this coming out a week from now, I'm just like, I don't.
This comes out like 3 days from now.
Even then, I'm like, I'm a different person now. I don't know who this girl is.
Okay, great. So that concludes our discussion. Moving on. Oh, I guess what we're going to talk about now is any of the movies that we've watched. We're going to talk about how we bought tickets for The Lighthouse on October 25th. Very excited for that. But yeah, if this is where you leave us, we understand. You can get in contact with us. contact@wewatchpodcast.com. That is our email. You can also slide into the DMs on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter @WeWatchPodcast. And that's that. So, what other movies have we watched?
Just one other movie. Unless we count all the movies in October.
Yeah, we'll count them.
We went and saw Joker
We did go see
at
Joker.
Cinerama in Seattle.
We did.
It
What'd
was
you think?
amazing. I loved it.
Good. I really liked it.
It was a lot,
Oh yeah.
but I absolutely loved it. Like the acting specifically was incredible.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to go see it again
Uh-huh.
to be able to really stand by this statement, but I'm going to make it anyway. I think it's in contention right now with Midsommar
Wow.
for my favorite of the year.
Wow. I mean, definitely performance-wise, incredible. I know a lot of people like have a problem with the message that it sends, but
That's because, oh my God.
I mean, it's. Uh-oh.
Andrew's about to rant. Prepare yourself.
It's just like
Just because a piece of media contains something does not make it an endorsement of that thing. Well, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
like I mean, like I can. The violence in it is very brutal. I don't think it's really making a statement. It's a movie about one of the greatest supervillains of all time. So of course it's going to be like showing the supervillain is prevailing and is
Mhm.
successful because this is his story. We're not going to be watching a movie about the Joker and at the end he gets defeated by Batman.
Because there's no Batman in this movie. That's
Yeah.
what makes it so scary. There's no hero.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
yeah, I really liked it.
Seriously, that's my honest to goodness, that is my biggest pet peeve when it comes to talking about this movie, is that people think because the Joker is like the main character of the movie and he's a total piece of garbage, spoiler alert, that the movie is an endorsement of being a total piece of garbage. But like, you can show a character's journey and not endorse that character's actions. It's not saying, yep, murder
Yeah.
is good. It's obviously it's not, and the movie is not saying that. It's saying the complete opposite. It's showing you, like, it's just people who can't handle being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and they think that because it's a movie about a superhero or a comic book character, that it's going to be a freaking Marvel movie, and it's not, and it was never meant to be, and it was never advertised as that.
Well, it's so much more grounded than any other
Yes,
comic book movie I've seen. And it just like, and that's what makes it so terrifying is that like everything that happens could very easily happen in the world today.
yeah,
That like a mental illness, serious mental illness gone unmedicated mixed with a crazy amount of childhood trauma and abuse. Like
but
just
let's
real
avoid
things
spoilers as much as we can.
oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that we could do a whole episode on this.
Oh yeah.
Easily. But I think that I guess the question that I came out of it with is like, if it's not telling a comic book story, why take place in the Batman universe, right?
Yeah.
But it's the movie is so smart in the way that it leverages our existing understanding of Gotham City
Mm-hmm.
to provide depth and exposition to the film that it doesn't have to take the time to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it takes place in a comic book universe, is because all it's doing is leveraging our existing understanding of that universe to give the world more depth.
Yeah.
But it is not, I don't even consider it a comic book movie. Like it's a character drama.
Yeah, definitely.
And one of the more horrific movies I've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like absolutely like definition of horror.
Mm-hmm.
And not because there's ghosts or possession, but because what takes place in that movie is absolutely horrific and like chills you.
Yeah, we like had to sit with it for like a good hour before we were talking about it.
Yeah. So we saw Joker.
Yeah.
Said you saw Joker.
Yes, I did.
We watched a few other movies too.
Are we gonna save them?
No, we'll just do it. It didn't matter.
Okay.
I watched Heat.
Oh, what'd you think?
It was good.
That was
liked
one
it.
that like I liked it, but like
Yeah, it was fine.
it didn't quite live up to, you know.
The performances were good. The writing was less so, and the action was really good.
Yeah.
So there's that. We watched It Follows, It Comes at Night, and The Fly for 31 Days of October. We'll be talking about those at another juncture, but I do want to mention that we watched them.
Okay.
And that's what we've watched, right?
Yeah.
Sid, what do you got?
I've watched quite a few really good ones. I've been really getting going on my my list for this year.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of time left.
I know. I've been stressed out. So we're putting a pause on Parks and Rec for the moment. But we watched Psycho.
Was that your first time seeing
Yeah,
it?
first
Oh
time.
boy, what did you think?
I loved it.
It's incredible,
I
right?
thought it was so good. I mean,
Absolutely
Like,
holds up.
I just almost ripped my headphones off my head.
Yikes.
Anyway, like even 60 years later and knowing pretty much everything about the movie, it was so interesting to watch.
Super holds up. That
Yeah.
last scene of him, like,
Where just
he would
staring.
never
Oh
hurt a
my
fly.
gosh.
Like the delivery on that. Oh my gosh.
Everything about it was so good. Yeah, we watched that. We watched Leon the Professional.
How was that?
It was pretty good. It wasn't as good as I was expecting, but
Okay.
it was still good performances. Natalie Portman's first role, she's great, as we know. For my film class, we are in our like non-traditional narrative. So we watched this documentary, Heart of a Dog, which first off, it's a documentary about a woman just like talking about like her beloved dog. And I just knew from the get-go that I was going to be crying in it, which I did. But it was like I was not super excited for it because it's non-traditional. So it was like weird kind of artsy stuff. But as soon as they put it on and I saw the Criterion logo, I was like, I am all in. Let's get it going. And I cried and I loved it. And I was really mad at everyone in the class because they didn't like it at all.
There's a Russian film from the 50s, I think, that's called Heart of a Dog as well. So every time that I am like browsing Criterion and I see that, I'm like, oh, is this on here? Because it's really funny.
Yeah.
Basically, the Russian movie is kind of a dramedy, where this homeless guy dies and he gets taken in by a doctor who replaces his heart with a dog's heart. And so then the guy comes back to life because now he has a working heart.
Yeah.
But he just starts like acting more like a dog. It's really funny.
Yeah, I mean, I would really recommend it if you're kind of open to weird experimental. Like, it's weird, but just like kind of the questions that the director poses are really interesting and interesting thoughts to kind of just ponder over.
Okay.
And I saw Hustlers, which was fine.
We almost went and saw it.
It was
Then we
like,
didn't.
I mean, there were a lot of boobies for sure.
Gosh darn it.
But it was just like, it just like wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be. It just like turned more into just like a crime drama, which was good, but I just wasn't expecting that. But I will say that Lizzo's like 3 minutes on screen were amazing. So
How was Cardi B?
she was pretty good.
Was she?
And I'm like not a huge fan. She's only in it for like 2 scenes.
Oh, bummer.
But she was pretty fun. Yeah.
Lizzo and Cardi B. Great.
Love them.
Freaking
Yeah.
snapshot of 2019, that movie.
And yeah, that's pretty much all I've been watching.
Great. Yeah, we've been pretty hard focused on horror.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, is that everything?
That's
I think
everything.
so.
Great, folks. Well, that concludes this episode of We Watch Movies and Then Talk About Them. Again, if you want to get in contact with us, we'd be happy to hear from you for any reason. You know, comments, questions, suggestions, whatever. We're happy to hear it. You can email us at contact@wewatchpodcast.com, or you can slide into the DMs, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram @WeWatchPodcast. But yeah, that'll do it. We thank you. We love you. We'll catch you on the next one where we will be discussing The Shining.
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing The Shining next week. So we'll be stoked about that. But we love you. We thank you. We appreciate you. Keep listening. Tell your mom about the podcast. Have your mom tell her mom. And have your mom's mom tell her mom.
All the moms.
We're going for the mom demographic here.
If you have to, use a Ouija board. Let them know.
Yeah, if you could just like lay some AirPods on a Ouija board with us playing, that'd be great. Okay. My name is Andrew.
I'm Becca.
I'm Sid.
And we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.